I hate to say this, but this just isn't true. I had to. You guys tagged me in it, and that video is talking about how the Michelsons would wipe the floor with the Cullens, and as soon as Elijah unbuttoned his suit, the Cullens are confetti on the floor. And no, and it's not because I'm not familiar with the Michelsons game or I think the Cullens are cooler. It is simply because Stephenie Meyer made her vampires unimaginably overpowered. It has nothing to do with personality, although the Cullens are really not as peaceful as you would think. They're just creepy and like to cosplay as humans. They're actually really horrifying, and I could see maybe how you might get this if you've only watched the movies, but honestly, because, well, I admit that the originals are the only ones in the TVD universe that, like, maybe it would be a little bit more of a fair fight, but it still wouldn't be. The only advantage that Klaus example has is that he can't die. If we're talking about strength, abilities, evasion, all of that, the Michelsons are not wiping the floor with the Cullens. You could put a pencil through Elijah. You could never even penetrate this vampire's skin. They are literally like rocks. It takes more than one of these vampires to rip one apart. And these vampires weigh more than humans, and they are able to easily, the weakest among them, are able to easily lift hundreds of times their weight. Incredibly fast. Their minds are overpowered because they process information faster and more efficiently than humans. This is not talking about the vampires with special abilities. It's just an average vampire. And if you could manage to rip this vampire apart, you have to literally burn the pieces immediately because they can stick themselves back together. They have no sunlight weakness. They can't be taken down by a stake. No vervain. Nothing. And then if you want to get into abilities, that's where, like, there's a gray area because you have like witches and stuff, but we're just talking about the Michelsons. That could get complicated because you want to talk about, like, maybe they could use their compulsion, but then we have a mind reader and a psychic. And if you want to add in people that are outside of the Michelson family, then we have to add in other vampires that can literally just paralyze them. Look, I too think that Klaus is cooler than Glitterbag, but this is just not what it's about. The Twilight vampires were just made to be these alien creatures that have no weaknesses because Twilight is not a story about combat or mixing lore. I get it, they're sparkly, they're cringy, you know, they wear khaki, but that's not what it's about. It's not about who has the more sadistic personality. So the Cullens are pretty unhinged. Take a look at Midnight Sun. The only thing that complicates it is like the mixing lore kind of thing and the fact that Klaus, like, can't die. As far as strength and substance and composition, Elijah's not wiping the floor with any of the Cullens. It's just not happening. Yes, the Michelsons have done crazy things to vampires in their universe. Those vampires. These vampires are an entirely different breed.